Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today we're going to be reviewing a new build that I came up with. It's basically a Medic Solar Titan. So, the one thing I forgot to do. Alright, perfect. So this build is basically built for DPS, and it also can be healing for your teammates. So I'm just going to go right through the abilities, things that I'm using, exactly everything like that. So first thing, we're using the tower and barricade. You can use the rally if you're gonna be doing DPS on a boss. So you can switch to a rally barricade. Basically, it gives you reload speed and it gives you stability and range when standing behind it. Tower and barricade, basically you can hide behind it. Enemies can't shoot kill you at all from behind it unless they have splash damage. We're basically using the throwing hammer, which when you throw it, it basically cures. When picking up, it cures you, so it basically gives you slight healing. We're running healing nades. So there's two nades you could run for this. The one I'm running is basically the healing nade because it gives restoration and cure. And the whole point of this is you basically keeping your fire team alive. You're going to have a lot of sunspots everywhere. And you want to basically make sure you're healing your teammates while doing so. What you can run other than just running this. So there's other nades that you can run that allows you to play off the build itself to allow you to keep getting your nades and your baby hammer back, or throwing hammer. So you could run the firebolt grenade. It basically scorches targets. You can also run the fusion grenade. Alright, so this has a slight chance of scorching. So let's see. So any of the nades that scorch. So all the nades scorch except I think, even Tripmon nade scorches. So you basically want to run your healing nade, and then you can just choose whatever nade you want because they all scorch. I didn't realize every last one of them scorch. So that's actually kind of cool. Alright, so we're using Sol Invictus. Basically, Solar Final Blows basically leaves target scorch, and it also creates a sunspot. Basically, your abilities charge faster and your super drain slower while you're standing in sunspot. Sunspots also apply scorch for anything that's standing in them, and when you walk through it, it gives you restoration. The other aspect we're using is Roaring Flames. Final blows with solar abilities or ignition increases damage of your solar abilities, stacks up to 3 times. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it used to be 30%, Bungie dropped it down to 20%. So this is actually not bad at all. This is pretty decent. So now we're going to go over the fragments. So we're using Ember of Torches, Ember of Searing, Ember of Benevolence, and we're using Ember of Solstice, or Solstice if I'm saying it right. Alright, I'm messing it up, but you see it, Ember. Alright, so this one basically gives you a restoration and radiant. So basically it increases the duration for it. And forgive me for my reading, but alright. So Ember of Benevolence. Basically, when you apply restoration, cure, or radiance to your allies, it basically grants grenade, melee, and class ability duration for a short period of time. Ember of Searing, defeating scorched targets grants some melee energy. So when you scorch targets, which we're going to be doing a lot, especially with our gun, our Caliph mini tool. And Ember of Torches, power melee, basically make you and nearby allies radiant, which is going to be working off of our baby hammer. And my brain was acting wacky, so it's basically Ember of Solace. My brain is just acting wacky tonight. So that's basically exactly the build right here. Alright, so these stats that I have down here, the only thing that truly matters with this build, which I'm going to explain it, is your strength, your grenade, and your recovery. You could try to put resilience. You're not really going to be using your barricade as much. You don't really need mobility or your intellect. So now we're going to go through the armor, then we're going to go straight through the weapons, my weapon choices and things like that allow this build to work. So there's a couple of mods that I'm running here. So the first mod I'm running is Unquenchable Thirst. It basically increases the buff that you get from to excess origin trait and the healing effect of Soul Drinker origin trait, which we're not using anything with Soul Drinker unless like we count my linear fusion rifle, and that depends on exactly what I'm running. But the whole point of it is the excess origin trait. 2 excess, that's the exact origin trait we want. We want that to last as long as possible, especially when we do get our super, because we're gonna get our super back like really quickly, even with that low intellect. We're using Solar Siphon, rapid solar weapon final blows basically create an orb of power, so that way you keep generating orbs, and this allows your teammates to get their supers and abilities back if they're running it right. We're using Elemental Ordnance. Defeating a combatant with a grenade spawns an Elemental Well matching your subclass, and when you pick up an Elemental Well, it basically gives you energy to the. It basically gives you energy or ability energy to the lowest current ability that you have. So for the gauntlets, we're using 1 recovery mod, melee kickstart. When you use your melee, it's fully expended. You gain melee energy, which isn't bad. You can switch this out if you really want to the grenade kickstart, but I actually like the melee kickstart, so that way I can get my my melee back, my little baby hammer back as fast as possible. And we're using Elemental Light. This doesn't matter right here. This is just, I'm just running this right now because I'm basically on Encalus's Leviathan right now, so they have overload champions. Basically, defeating a combatant with your super spawns an Elemental Well that matches your subclass type. We don't go into our super often, but when we do, it's good to keep getting those wells, because those wells get you a lot of things and allow you to proc a lot of stuff that's going on with this build. So on the chest, we're running 1 melee mod. Basically, it gives us our strength, so we can have our melee up to 69. And we're using the Armor of Dying Star. Basically, it reduces the incoming solar damage and void damage. And we're using sniper damage resist. And we're using high energy fire, which you're going to see why we're using it, because it's going to come in handy for a lot of things that I'm going to be doing. And here goes the exotic. This is a very slept on exotic. I'm surprised not a lot of people know about this exotic. So Phoenix Cradle. So this basically allows your Soul Invictus to last twice as long, and your allies that pass through it, through your sunspots, are also granted Soul Invictus and Solar Restoration. So basically, as long as you keep putting sunspots down on the ground, your sunspots, basically, from what we have here with Benevolence and Ember of Solace here, we're basically increasing the restoration and radiant that I have applied. So this is basically giving me back my nade and my melee and my class ability for a short duration while I'm using my sunspots, and any ally that steps right through it is just basically giving me back my nade, it's giving me back my melee, so that way I can keep trying to drop as many sunspots as possible. And you're gonna see a lot of sunspots as we're running through this. And it's also good for making your allies radiant, because you increases your allies' damage. So if you're like in the middle of doing ad clearing in a raid or so, you happen to have a sunspot, your allies can actually step into that radiant pool. Or when you throw your baby hammer at like a boss at a boss, you apply radiance to nearby allies. So you're always applying radiance, and then when you pick it up, it basically gives you restoration and cure. So basically, you can get your health back. All right, so. Did I explain my mods? No, I did not explain the mods over here. So, we're using 1 shotgun scavenger. I found using a shotgun is actually very good for this. I also use Witherhoard from time to time. So, we're using the shotgun scavenger. We're also using a Better Ready mod. And basically, when you pick up an Orb of Power, you automatically start healing. So, you basically keep yourself alive and keep your allies alive. And then we're using Elemental Charge. So when you pick up an Elemental Well, it basically becomes charged with light. And basically you can gain 2 stacks of charge with light. This allows you to do a lot with your high energy fire. So it allows you to put off a little bit more DPS as you're going in on a boss. So here's the what we're running on the Titan Mark, basically a recovery mod, and then we're running special finisher. Finishers basically grant takes a third of your super, but it grants special ammo for your fire team. So anybody's running any other like thing that you would like to use, or like not use, but like any other like special weapon they would like to use, this allows you to basically generate the ammo. So if you're running solo, you can actually take this mod off, right? And you could just run this. Basically, your initiatives do increased damage and basically gives you a bigger blast radius, which I'm going to equip right now. And let's see, I think that's it. Yep, that's basically it. So, and then we're running the explosive well, of course. Basically, you're rapidly defeating targets with solar damage. Basically spawns like a explosive damage. Basically spawns a solar elemental well. And you're going to see the explosions because it comes from us igniting a bunch of enemies. So let's go up to the weapons here. So one of my choices for my primaries will be my God Roll Heritage. So I have a combination of Reconstruction and Recombination. So Reconstruction basically slowly reloads the weapon while even when the weapon is stowed or out in the open when you have it out. It basically slowly reloads the weapon, but it doubles the capacity. So it goes all the way up to 6. And Recombination. Elemental Final Blows increase the damage for this weapon's next shot. So you can make a stack of, I believe, 12, the max, and you can do high damage with it. This is just so like if you're running across like a mini boss or just like a boss you just want to put a little extra DPS in, you can put a little extra DPS and just stack it up with the one shot, and you basically got yourself ready to go. So this SMG is basically self-explanatory. But for those who don't know, this is basically the Calus mini tool or Mida mini tool. So the main perk on here is Incandescent. You're always going to want to have Incandescent to run this build. The reason why is when you defeat a target, it spreads Scorch from the target onto another target. So basically that target is not scorched, but when that target dies, it automatically spreads a wave of Scorch on any enemy that's standing by. And then this is even better because the more powerful the combatant or opposing guardians, it increases into a larger radius, so you can spread Scorch even further depending on what your target is you're killing. And you basically have a choice of 2 magazines here. I'm just using the appended mag to give me up to 40. You can use the alloy because the alloy gives you faster reloads, but I'd rather have the increased magazine. And then we're using tractor cannon. So basically this is basically just a debuff. So that way you can debuff and increase damage over time. And this works amazingly with your Burning Maul. Exactly what we're using right now. You can use Burning Maul, up to you, depending on how the way you want to play. Burning Maul, if you're going to go for DPS on a boss and the boss doesn't have any stomp mechanic, I would say just go straight for Burning Maul. If not, and you just want to just strictly clear ads without worrying about the ads, and you want to keep your teammates alive by keeping restoring them, I would say you just run a Hammer of Soul. The reason why is when you kill a target with your Hammer of Soul, it leaves a sunspot, which procs off your Phoenix Cradle, which allows you to keep giving restoration and radiant to your allies. Basically, it allows you to restore their solar abilities as well. And that's just about it. That's everything that we're running here. As you can see, my stats are not high. I still got to get a God roll of this, and I'm going to end up trying to farm for this when the exotic, I think the Lost Sector become boots. So we're going to take ourselves and run over here, and we're going to go kill some ads. I'm going to show you the build and some gameplay. So let's go. Oh, you have the ×2 Unbroken. He must have got Unbroken this season again. It's kind of cool. Alright. So, the first thing you want to do, throw the hammer. As you can see, we're Radiant right now. So we got Roaring Flames. So Roaring Flames, one thing that is kind of cool with Roaring Flames, I don't even have to throw my baby hammer to scorch anything. I could just do this. Now he's scorched. Detonation. Throw that to keep myself alive. Scorching all these targets here. Alright, and as you can see, look at this. They're just getting scorched. I'm gonna pop the small barricade. And I think the stacks literally came off this gun. So let's try to get our stacks back up here. This guy's beast moding over here. man, he killed all the ads. Oh, some up here. So let's back away because I was too close. So what you want to do is throw your baby hammer. Now we're radiant, and then when I picked it up, I got cure as well. And radiant, because of that, because of the fragments we're using, it allows us to have a longer time for our radiance. This guy's having a field day with that scythe. So we have 15 seconds of radiance, and then we have Soul Invictus as well. And look at this, we can basically just keep throwing this baby hammer if we want. We're just basically putting down a bunch of sunspots, as you can see. And any ally that will walk through it, they automatically get Soul Invictus, and they also get basically Radiant. We do that. And the cool thing about it is, like, as you saw, I punched that guy. I didn't even use my hammer, my little hammer. I punched that guy because I have Roaring Flames, and it gave me another sunspot. Long as you have Roaring Flames, you can literally just keep punching. You can keep punching and making sunspots off of, like, the little small ads here. And the whole goal is to basically keep your allies alive. If you see your allies are low, you can throw your Healing Nade. That'll keep them alive. If not the Healing Nade, you basically can just make a sunspot for them. And the sunspot will basically give them restoration, not only of their health, but some of their solar abilities as well. Let's get rid of one of these guys. And as you can see, one thing I forgot to mention. So the reason I was talking about that one perk to access, so Final Blows is this weapon while your super is fully full. It basically grants you bonus strength and discipline for a moderate duration. So as long as you keep getting kills with the Callous Mini Tool, you basically get your melees back really fast as well, and your grenade. So it works very well with your solar builds and things like that. It allows you basically to get your melee and your grenades back very fast. And me, I was lucky because I ended up getting 2 incandescent rolls for both characters on the mini tool, which I am going to end up crafting one. But you can literally just get incandescent with I think it was air salt, and it's just really, really good, especially with the Warlock. If you have not seen my Warlock build, it's basically you just staying in the air the entire time, and you're just melting ads just by finger snapping in the air. But as you can see, I'm literally just dropping sunspots, and I'm literally just pulling out radiance. This is basically a way that, because I know the hunters also have this with the throwing knives, which I'm probably going to end up making a build for as well, where you basically can keep throwing knives, and it buffs your damage and keep making you radiant as you go. And it's pretty strong, as you can see. I didn't even throw the baby hammer on that one. I literally just punched that dog. I just realized when I said I punched that dog, it made me kind of sound like I'm Michael Vick in it right now. But all jokes aside here, as you can see, and I missed my hammer throw. This guy's scorched, and as long as I keep scorching, and I don't have my hammer, so look at this. And I got my hammer back. As long as I keep defeating targets with scorch, I literally can get my hammer back, and I'm gonna throw my hammer way over there. I'm not even gonna try to get my hammer back. So we're gonna find a couple of targets here. As you can see, look, my hammer is coming back really quickly. Let's do this. And there we go, we have my hammer back. I was hoping that a nightmare, like a mini nightmare boss would show up. But I can just show you, like, you can also do DPS with this build. This build is not like only strictly locked to just ad control. It actually can put out damage as well. Especially if you do it right, if you throw your if you throw the hammer just to get yourself radiant, and then you tractor cannon, and then pop your super, you can literally melt like a small boss really, really quickly. And I've seen videos and things like that where they was just melting bosses extremely fast with Burning Maul. I'm happy because it's like about time Burning Maul is actually a DPS super. It's a good choice for DPS in any kind of boss. Oh, it's a chest back here. Let's grab that. Now, as you can see, as long as I keep scorching stuff, I have sunspots just sitting here. Sunspots equal healing your teammates. It keeps your teammates going. It keeps you going. And as long as you step in the Soul Invictus sunspot, you get restoration. And I tried it earlier in Gambit. It was amazing because like I was literally fighting like a couple of like the little, I think it was like the Primevals, like the little guys that like the wizards, and like they almost killed me. But I was standing in my sunspot. Oh, here we go. So I'm just gonna get rid of this dude right here. So what we're gonna want to do is throw that, and didn't reload it. And this guy literally just instant melted the boss. Let's see. There gotta be another one around here. I think there's probably one down here. No, there's none down here. As you saw, it has times 10, so it goes up to 10, not 12. Which I hope they end up like buffing that to make it like not just one shot. It can be like 2 shots, because that would be kind of cool to have that with like a couple of shots, so that way you can stay in like a game with DPS. And this works well with a lot of other builds, like so you can run stasis again with this, like your teammate can run stasis. Ether thickens the air, so I'm guessing there's a boss coming. Yep, right here. So I can show you on this because I actually used it on this boss back here. Oh my god, this guy again. This man's sweating PvE. Alright, so we're going to throw that. Tractor cannon. And now watch this. Look how fast we're melting this boss. So you could do DPS. So this build allows you to do DPS. I'm not stacking with Synthos because the whole goal of this build is to basically keep your teammates going, keep yourself going, and you're basically sharing your sunspots with everybody that's in your fire team. So it allows you to control ads as well as basically keep your fire team alive. Especially on like crazy stuff, especially like if you on like I think Caretaker, there's a lot of ads there, and if you literally control them good enough to a point where your guys that are going in and the stun team is basically not worrying about it, all they gotta do is step in the sun spot, and you don't have to be up close. Like I also have a scout rifle with incandescent, so you can run incandescent on a scout as well. They also have a bow with incandescent, so it doesn't have to be the mini tool, so you can just run. I forgot the darn name of the bow. I believe I have the bow. I'm going to show you the bow real quick. I believe I do have the bow. Weapons, it's going to be in the combat bow, and it's going to be this guy right here, Strident Whistle. So this thing could come with incandescent. You can get this out of Vanguard Strikes. This is basically the new Vanguard Strike bow, and you can get incandescent on it. I got lucky they got an incandescent one. So you can get incandescent on that, and you can also get it on the scout rifle. The new Zero Scout that they put in here. Staccato 46. It can get basically in the spot where Rampage is at would be incandescent. So you can play distance, and as long as you keep basically killing the ads from a distance, you can kill them really quickly and scorch stuff and keep your abilities up. And if I'm not mistaken, actually you can also, because I was using this in Nightfalls as well, So we're just gonna stop for a moment here. So if you use the, let's see, you could switch out this shotgun, right? You don't have to run tractor cannon if you're gonna go into a Grandmaster or like a higher Nightfall. You can probably use one of these, and you could switch to this, and then use your primary. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Unstoppable or the Anti-Barrier is a pulse. So you can use, let's see, let's take a quick look here. So you can use a pulse for the Anti-Barrier, and then you can use the Unstoppable. And you can use Skyburners. Skyburners basically have explosive. So I'm going to show this as well. It does explosive damage, and it scorches as well. And as you can see, you got a sunspot right there. Let's get this guy out of here. And as you can see, look, it scorches the targets. It doesn't do what Incandescent does, where it explodes and spread it, but it does enough damage where you can do splash damage from the hip. And it does enough splash damage if a bunch of ants are standing next to each other. They are all going to be affected by you scorching. Let's grab this. And that's basically it. So I would say this is probably another weapon you can probably go for, because it does scorch. It applies scorch to targets, and you can fire it from the hip, and it has slight tracking when you fire it from the hip. And I think that was a mini boss that just shot me. Yes, it was a core bearer. And as you can see, look, he's scorched and left a sunspot. So this random, look, he just stepped in it, he just became radiant. So basically, it allows you to basically heal your teammates, make them radiant, and you basically can play with your team to get things done. So if you guys like this build, please check out my channel. I have a lot more builds on my channel here. I have a Void build, I have a Warlock Air build, and I'm going to be working on a Hunter build probably sometime next week or sometime this week. So you guys have yourself an awesome day, and I'll catch you later. Peace.